Hello. I know you're used to seeing Dr. Sims on this channel, but today we are taking over. As you can see, it's a different cast. This past month's sessions have been about motherhood and the journey to motherhood, but being June, we'd like to switch it up. It's Father's Day this month, and so we like to get the perspective of fathers and potential fathers. And so we've brought the husbands of the wives that you've seen recently on to interview them and get their take on the journey to fatherhood. And so I'll let them introduce themselves. I am the husband of Dr. Sims. You see her on the show every week doing an amazing job. And so I am husband Dr. Sims. And we'll start to my right.
Hey everybody, my name is Douglas. I'm Brittany Kane's husband.
Hello everyone, I'm Richard and I'm Ashlyn's husband.
Hey out there, how you doing? My name is Jahi Ward-Daniels and I'm Sade Ward-Daniels' husband.
So Aaron's husband was not able to be here tonight. He had a prior engagement, but you will see him later. He'll be back to have his moment. And we'll go ahead and get started. We'll start with Doug. So your wife Brittany spoke about her challenges with getting pregnant over the last year or so. So during this conversation, she mentioned that she wanted you to be able to have your feelings as well. So what has this journey been like for you? And do you feel like you have space to express your feelings?
Absolutely. To answer the second question first, do I have space to express my feelings? I mean, so Brittany's been really, really good about asking me, how I feel throughout the entire process. Yeah. And, as her husband and as like her main support system emotionally, I just want to make sure that I'm at a space as to where to really, so I can really be there for her. Right. And I feel like if I'm, and I guess most guys do, right? If you feel like you're kind of too overly sensitive to those emotions, that it'll just kind of fester and you can't really, kind of be the rock that we've kind of intuitively been raised to be, right? Mm-hmm. As a man in today's society. So I really want to be that's kind of solid ground for her. She's been great. She's been great about expressing her feelings, not holding back. And I just want to make sure that she knows that it's okay. Right. Whether you want to cry, punch a wall, just don't. Our insurance ain't that good, so don't make any holes. But it's just kind of one of those things. Whatever type of emotion that what comes out through this whole thing, I just want to make sure I'm there for her.
So you allow yourself to be emotional enough for her, while at the same time being that strong backbone that she can lean on and cry on.
Absolutely,
she has
absolutely.
her tough moments.
And it kind of feels kind of selfish, right? A little bit, because when you ask the question, have I kind of myself felt like I can really do the same things? I'm thinking, man, I'm so far removed from what she's going. I'm there every day, but I still feel very far removed from the ins and outs of what we're going through. To be honest, I mean, like your wife, your woman has a totally different connection to a child than you do, right? Right. You're kind of on the outside looking in until the child gets here, right? Yeah. So you just really want to be there for her, really want to be there for your child, and make sure both are emotionally intact and stable going forward. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And so with Richard, your wife Ashlyn discussed maintaining faith throughout the journey. She talked about faith a lot in her video when she was here. Did your faith in having a baby ever waver? Because I know you all went through a lot in that whole process. And how did you maintain that faith throughout the whole process?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, my faith really didn't waver at all. I don't know what it was particularly. I don't know if it was that I was overly confident, or was I just not that emotionally involved or something, but my faith really didn't waver. With a lot of things in life, I think of things as we're trying to eat an elephant. Mm-hmm. And the best way to eat an elephant is just take one bite at a time. So I'm really focused on whatever our next step is. What's our next step? Where do we need to go? What do we need to eat? What do we need? What doctor we need to see? Right. Whatever. What medication we need to take. Yeah. That's my focus more so. It's not really the end result. It's like, what's the next step we need to take? Yeah. So I think that really kept me on track, and it probably didn't help me as a good person to verbalize emotional support, because once we start to go in that dialogue, I'm like, hey, what's our next step? We just need to do our next step. Let's just focus on that. Everything else will probably take care of itself. So I wouldn't say my faith wavered at all.
Yeah.
I was focused on whatever we needed to do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I know when it comes to guys and women, like kind of a difference, women tend to be able to be more in tune with their emotions, and they'll have you look at the whole overall process, where if something goes wrong, it may make your faith waver more because you're looking at, man, this went wrong, why is this happening? Whereas guys tend to be less involved, less focused on our emotions, which isn't always a good thing, but it also helps us to be more kind of goal oriented. So we're looking at the next step, like, okay, this part didn't work out, so let's just focus on this because we know there's another way, instead of focusing on the whole thing. So kind of when she was going through everything, it helped you to be stronger for her because you're like, okay, well, we'll still get there, let's just focus on the next step.
Yeah.
Instead of that makes sense. Okay, so Jahi, your wife, Sade, discussed putting off starting a family as she pursued some of her career aspirations. It wasn't until just a few months prior to getting pregnant that her perspective changed. And what was it like for you to be patient, because you had to be very patient from what we saw in her video, until she changed her mentality and started to come around?
For me, and I don't know, you guys know that I'm older than Sade is, so for people to talk about that biological clock, and usually when you talk about the biological clock, a lot of times, more often than not, you're talking about that from a female perspective. And
Right.
Okay, that clock's ticking, I need to have a baby, I should have already had a baby by now, those type things. And so for me, I always kind of had in my mind, I guess, kind of the time period in which I wanted to start having kids and how I saw myself, what I wanted to be like. And even when my kids got of age where they're on their own, I always wanted to be a certain age range when I can start to enjoy really being an empty nester and
Right.
retirement and traveling more with my wife and those kind of things. So in my mind, it was kind of like, hey, it's kind of around that time. But during that time period, for me, we're either in this together or we just need to continue to talk through it. It's not a force it, it's not a blame game, it's not a pressure game, because this is not it's not a decision on buying a shirt. You can't really return this. So.
Right. Lifelong decision.
So it's more to it than that. So with that perspective, that in mind, and then of course through just prayer, right? Really is what kind of helped me just stay true to, all right, let me try to support her in other ways and show that, hey, if we do have a baby, just know and understand I'm gonna be there. That we're in this together. I'm gonna do everything that I can. And she has a lot going on. And that's one of the things I love about my wife. Is because she can juggle a million things and make it look easy. And so I always try to find ways that I can support her that are maybe not huge things, but they're just simple. Whether that's try to keep the house clean or kind of have dinner ready at home when I can have time to cook and get home.
Yeah.
Those type of little things. And so I think that all doing those things, prayer, and us just having general conversations, as friends should do. And to me, in a marriage, you should be best friends. And so it's things that we talked about from time to time and made sure we were on the same page. So she knew how I felt, I knew how she felt. And so there were no surprises. And I think that was the beautiful thing about this process is that, I wasn't in the dark on what was going on. When she started to change her mind, I knew that she was on the verge of changing her mind. Did I push her more? No, I wanted that to be a natural change because I wanted it to be her idea to want to move forward with procreation and having a baby. So, once she made that full leap, then of course I was excited. Don't get me wrong. But it was definitely a group effort. So for me, it was just all about us being on the same page because I don't think I think I'd always have probably some type of little bit of guilt or regret if I knew that I felt like I pushed that, too hard when she wasn't truly ready. So all in God's time. That's all I can say. All in God's time.
Yeah, and then I like the way you went about that. I think in marriages a lot of times spouses, we tend to kind of push our own agendas on the other person and not wait until they're ready. And so what she mentioned in her video a lot was she would go from, okay, I will, not right now, I want to achieve this goal, and then that goal, once that's achieved, not right now, the next goal. And she mentioned that through each time, you weren't pushy about what you wanted, you were supportive. You would, come home and cook, like you said, and do what you needed to do to help her get to those goals, whereas a lot of people tend to be pushy and would get in their feelings. But I think that's a good attribute of a husband, is you were supportive and you helped her get to where she needed to be. And then she was at the point where, like, hey, I've accomplished all this. He's been very supportive. It's time to, make his dream come true. So that's pretty good. So Doug, how do you practice self-care while progressing through each phase of this journey to fatherhood? And how do you deal with the emotional roller coaster as you're dealing with infertility issues, like, what Brittany discussed in her video?
Okay. To answer your self-care piece, I try to do things that, I grew up doing that naturally make me happy, right? Whether that just be, I was an athlete in high school, tried to be one in college, but the competition gets a little tough out there. So, but yeah, so you're always doing something, and Jai, he can speak to that too. But
hey, you made the team. You made the team. I saw the jersey.
Woo, boy. Woo. It was fun. It was fun.
Right.
Look, those 6 months were fun.
Hey, you were there.
Right.
You're right. I was there. I was
more
in
than
the
what
stadium.
most people can say.
Exactly.
But look, yeah, like I just try to work out. Now I spend a lot of time, playing basketball, lifting weights. Most recently, since my sister's back in town, I'm training with her, and they do crazy workouts, man. I mean, all the respect to all the pro and college women's basketball players out there. It's hard out there in those streets. I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, I just try to stay around family. Try to stay fit, and enjoy time with my wife, seriously. Because I mean, even though we've got all these kind of infertility issues, and that's only one aspect. Definitely a large aspect of our relationship now. But we both know that's not going to be forever. I mean, and the way my wife's mind is set up, right? I call her superpower. She's like really, really, really focused on a certain amount of things at one time, right? And if she lasers in to any one of those things, it's gonna happen. And right now, that's like getting pregnant and having a family. So I have to continue to encourage her, like, everything you focus on, like, you get done, and you get done at like 110%.
Yeah. So
I'm not really worried about this, and that's a sensitive topic, right? Because with infertility issues, I mean, like, as a woman, you feel like you're broken. You feel like you can't do the one thing that a woman's supposed to do, which is procreate.
Yeah.
But that's just gonna make the miracle that much better, when it happens, because it's gonna happen. There's no doubt in my mind it's gonna happen. And right now, we found a really great doctor that helps out a whole lot too. And I'm telling you, like, my wife is amazing because she came to the doctor with white papers and research and all of that. That's who Brittany is, right? Like, she's not gonna be caught slipping.
Yeah.
Right. And so the doctor, she was kind of hesitant when we were talking to the doctor. Shout out to Dr. Best out there. But yeah, she was kind of hesitant about talking to her about it. I'm like, baby, do all this research, just pull it out, go ahead, go for it. And Dr. Best kind of sat back and was like, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she knew exactly what she was talking about, times, terms, like what medicine she had to take, when, of course, how much the process, IVF, IUI costs, when can we expect to be pregnant? All of that, right? All of that came out, and and to really have a good doctor on your side that listens, and that's not just gonna say, I've done over 12 years of medical research and study. You can't tell me what to do. No, she sat back and she listened, and she really kind of personalized the message. So now we have a plan in place, man, and I think that's what's really kind of driving us forward. We have a plan in place now. It's not random. It's not just disappointments. We have something to look forward to. And as long as we follow the plan, we hope to be pregnant soon. So.
Nice. Okay. I like that. You went back to what you knew and made you happy to practice your self-care. And at the same time, you stick with the plan because it's going to work out. That's faith. I mean, everybody should have that.
Best doctor.
I see what you did there.
I did there.
Best. There you go.
Right.
That's a good one.
So Richard, how do you practice self-care while progressing through each phase of the journey to fatherhood? now that you are a father, being on the other side, what lessons have you learned about keeping faith when it comes to things that you really want? You know, like now that you kept the faith, you had your child through everything you went through, but how has that transitioned to you keeping faith in just other areas of life?
So a big thing I would bring up is you can control what you can control and you can't control what you can't control. These are one of those things that you can't control the timing, you can't control when it's going to happen. You just have to believe that something great is going to come out of the process.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a revelation to like your faith in God or whomever you believe in. You just have to know that going through this process, or I guess I should say, some people believe the journey is better than the result, and it truly is. Like the journey that you go through to get wherever you want to go is really more impactful than the result you get. Even though a baby is a great thing to have and such, but the journey of how it brings you closer to your wife, the journey that you really work and you put your time and energy into something that really shapes you as a person, and it shapes you for the rest of your life. And I want to get more into practicing having a healthy mind, body, and spirit. So, of course, like Doug said, I try to regularly work out. I don't get to go to the gym like I used to, but I got stuff at the house. I can run around the neighborhood. I can lift at my house. I got weights and such. So I try to keep that body part, and then that helps with my mind and such, because during that time, especially when I'm alone, I get to meditate, think about other things that are on my mind, think through those things that are going to impact my family life and even my individual life. So that's a good aspect. And then spiritual life, definitely like listen to different philosophies, mainly Christian-based philosophies, but different how people see the world and from different perspectives. That really helps put things in perspective in my life. So that definitely helps. And I really try to get my wife on board with continue to enjoy her life. She doesn't have to be a mom from 24/7. Want her to, if her friends are having something, I want her to feel comfortable with going out. So another thing I try to do is try to know how to do everything, even though I don't have to do everything. So if she, at the spur of the moment, her girls want to get up, go ahead and go out. I'll take care of the baby, and I'll do everything I need to do to make sure she stays alive.
That's the point of this one,
right?
Keep them alive.
Just keep her alive.
Keep
That's all
her
you have to
alive,
do is
man.
keep her alive.
Exactly.
That's real.
I'll make sure she's safe.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure we have a good time and develop some type of bond. I guess I have more to add for another question, but yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Nice. Okay. So you practice the same kind of self-care as Doug, and just focus on being there for her so that she doesn't feel like she's carrying the whole burden. That's important. So Jahi, how do you practice self-care while progressing through each phase of the journey to fatherhood, being that you're months away from being a father? How do you balance professional adult responsibilities with getting ready to start a family?
I love the fact that both of Doug and Richard brought up working out and just staying in shape, right? So people always talk about, keeping your mind sharp, but your body is also a tool as well. And so keeping that tool sharpened is a best practice. So I'm, of course, as you know, Sade's big on working out. So
Huge.
Huge. Right. Understand.
Right.
So, I want to make sure I stay fit too. And for me, I also think about whenever I work out now, my mindset is, I got to protect not only Sade, but now I got to protect little Jada too. So, like, it makes me go harder in the workout room because, like, my mindset is now I have to protect another life.
Right.
And so as a man, you always feel that provide and protect role profile that you got to fit into. And so that's like heightened now even more so because I'm adding another body into my family, So for me, I think about that a lot of times. It's the protection piece and make sure keeping them safe from all harm. And sometimes I just sit and meditate on things and how I'll approach different situations. And I know it's impossible because there's going to be situations you can never foresee that will happen when you have a kid and you're raising a child, especially in this day and age. But I just continue to go through scenarios in my head. And what would I say? What kind of advice would I give in this situation? How would I approach this conversation that may be difficult or a little awkward to have? So I do a lot of self-reflecting and a lot of meditating on those type of topics, especially having a girl to raise as well. Yeah. So that's a lot of what my time goes to now. The other piece would be me really making sure that Sade really feels that love from her partner, from her best friend, because she's going through so many changes. So with her going through so many changes, I want to make sure that she has some type of consistency in her life as well. So I'm not going to just change as far as making sure that I'm cooking for her or keeping the house clean, those type things, as well as date nights. So some of you may know we still go on date nights, even with her being pregnant and all, throwing axes and pottery, those type of things. So I just want to keep things fresh and, you know, still make her feel just as beautiful as always, because she is, and I tell her all the time, and I mean that though. And I know sometimes it may sound like words, it's like, oh, you're just saying that, but no, I truly mean that, because nothing to me changes about her. You're just an addition that is connected to you right now. So anytime that, you know, I can put my head on her stomach or kiss her belly, it's all love, and I want her to feel that. But the next thing I'm doing is just telling her how beautiful she is, because I think it's a beautiful thing and a beautiful sight for me. So, but it's something that makes me feel good to know that she feels that love and that support through this process too.
Yeah, y'all heard him say he likes to throw sharp objects around his pregnant wife.
He did mention axe throwing.
Just said that.
I think you should stick with tummy time. Actually, yeah. Could you break down what tummy time is real quick? She mentioned that in her video. We'd like to know.
Yes, tummy time is where I get a chance to really just kind of spend a little quality time with Jada. So of course, you know, talking to Jada, just letting her know that Daddy loves her, and just encouraging her to continue to grow big and strong, all those good things. But just, you know, I love to put my ear to her belly button and try to listen to just her movements. To sometimes I feel like I hear it's like heartbeat. It's kind of hard, but it's just time to kind of connect. You know, she's with Sade all day, and she can feel those movements, you know. But for me, I have to wait my turn, I guess you could say, until I'm with Sade in the evenings and whatnot, to have that little bit of time. So it just starts now. I'm prepping for that, you know. 'Cause when she's here, it's, you know, amplified even more. So it's just exciting. It's an exciting process.